All right, everyone. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be joining us from today. Thank you so much for joining us for our MS in Accountancy information session. I'm so glad that you could take the time out of your day to spend some time with us today and learn more about our program. For our agenda today, we are going to go ahead and take a deep dive into our MS in Accountancy program so you can learn more about our curriculum and our classes as so you can get a little bit more of an insight as to what you might be taking in our program. We'll also go ahead and take a look at the student experience, and you'll be hearing from the Benet Career Management Center on all the resources they offer our MSA students. So we will have a program overview, but we'll also share some insight on the student experience and some valuable resources for you today. Of course, near the end, I will highlight some application deadlines and some next steps for you today as you work through your MS application. I do want to remind you all that we do have the Q&A function open today, so I do encourage you to go ahead and submit your questions as they come up for you throughout today's presentation, and we will take care of those at the end of the presentation today. I am so thrilled to be joined by an amazing group of panelists today. Welcome again. My name is Myra Vite Romero. I'm an assistant director of MS admissions, and I work primarily with our MS and accountancy students, so I'm very excited to be working with you all today. I'm going to go ahead and have our panelists introduce ourselves. So, Trista, why don't you go ahead and get us started today?
Wonderful. Thanks, Myra. Hi, everyone. My name is Trista Kukuchka. I'm Director of MS Admissions here at Simon Business School. So I oversee recruitment and enrollment for all four of our specialized master's programs. And I have worked very closely with MSA prospective and admitted candidates in the past. So excited to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Tim, you want to get us going?
Sure. My name is Tim Hungerford. I'm actually a new faculty director here with the MSA program at the Simon School. I'm very excited to be here. I come to Simon and the University of Rochester with over 30 years of experience, both in the CPA world and also in public global companies, as well as teaching at several different universities. So I got a whole bunch of experiences that I'm bringing to Simon, but I'm also enjoying seeing how Simon does things and the uniqueness of the University of Rochester.
Yes, thank you so much, Tim. We're very, very lucky to have you. Sean, do you want to get introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Sean Denman. I am, I'm not sure what my official title is anymore. We've moved things around a little bit, but my primary role with the MS and accounting students is I will be your academic advisor while you're here. So I'll help you make sure that we walk through elective choices and things like that. I've been working for Simon for 8 years, University of Rochester for 15, and in higher ed for, oh geez, year 23, I think. So, hoping to bring that experience to help make the your time here at Simon as best we can.
Wonderful. Thank you. Well, last and certainly not least, Sanket.
Thank you, Myra. Hello, everyone. My name is Sanket Gomase, and I work as a career advisor here at the Benet Career Management Center. I've been working in my role for almost around 3 years now. And fun fact, I'm also a Simon alum. So I'm quite familiar with some of the challenges and opportunities that await you in this program. So very excited to be here and learning more about you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Like I said, we have an amazing group of panelists today with a wealth of knowledge and information to share. So without further ado, I will let Tim take it away with an overview on our curriculum.
Thank you, Myra. I just wanted to go over some of the highlights of the curriculum before I show you what the classes look like. But in general, we're here to cover all the needs you have related to passing the CPA exam. And we've got some special programs within the Simon School that will help especially those with looking for extra time in the U.S. to have work experiences, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes too. So between the breadth of knowledge I'm seeing from the PhDs who've had journeys to get here at the University of Rochester, different journeys and paths that then they present in the classroom, along with individuals like myself who the majority of my career has been out in the public world as a practitioner and building my network and all of the experience I've got that I can bring into the classroom. In fact, several of the faculty that I sit near in my offices here at the U of R, we talk about our Big Four experiences or our experiences with public companies and then how we share that in the classroom. So all of that is, beyond what you see in these little highlights in the class schedules that you'll see. That's the additional piece that we bring here at Simon. But let's go over those highlights. So we've got business law, which again, as a practitioner, and I've worked on many fraud cases, it's essential to understand business law and understanding what rights those parties have that are involved in any dispute or situation that you incur. So business law is important. Again, it's a key factor of the CPA exam also. The financial reporting aspect, we've got special areas of accounting. And what we do is we take what you may have learned at your undergrad level or some of the introductory classes or even intermediate classes, and then take it to the next level, talking about mergers and acquisitions, advanced accounting topics as we talk about leases and pensions and deferred taxes and areas like that. We have a research and professional standards where we're looking at the trends in the accounting industry, recent legislation that's going on, and you've got special projects related to that. And the analytics side of it in the financial markets, understanding the financial reporting that's going on out in the global community, doing analytics on that, which brings me to a piece we'll talk about in a few minutes about STEM and the fact that we're integrating some of that data analytics, some of that systems programming into the accounting curriculum so that you'll have the STEM, which will allow individuals to work longer if they're coming from outside of the United States, longer in the United States. And again, it gives you that extra added step up when you're out in the professional world to be able to both bring your knowledge of accounting and your ability to use analytic tools to separate yourself apart. The auditing function, which is actually near and dear to my heart because I was a global internal controls leader for a publicly traded company. And so between internal controls and audit, constantly looking at the big data and analytics of looking at that data and using tools such as generated AI to be able to lift the levels of your audit experience. In fact, I think about travel expenses. We've been in a world where people will review people's travel expenses. Now we've got AI tools that will actually not only look at an expense report that someone submits, but look at their history to see if there are problems with the way the individual has maybe duplicated expenses or we look at some of the trends and patterns that individual has. So it's more than just auditing. It's actually being an advanced auditor or being a proactive auditor. And so some of those tools we'll be bringing to the classroom. And then we've got our tax classes. We've got our individual, corporate, gift and estate tax. And this is something that we also have packaged into a certificate at the U of R. So if you go through the program, there's a good possibility you'll be able to get a certificate of achievement, which is just another resume item that you'll be able to differentiate yourself from others in the profession. And as we talk about that STEM program and analytics, we have a financial statement analysis and data analytics, a class used to actually make business decisions. Making sure that you're making the right decision. Should you buy something? Should you make something? What's the optimal situation you should be in? And then taking those financial analytics and applying them to benchmarks and any type of performance reporting that we've got. And finally, our core statistics for MS students using Python programming and technology that will help you to create pivot tables, use Excel, even be an advanced user of Excel, which again is a differentiator when you're out in the real world, as I've seen. So thank you, Myra. That's a good highlight on our curriculum. So I talked about that STEM designation, and what does that mean? Science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Well, it's applying those into our accountancy program. And one of the biggest benefits you have as a student that might be coming to the U of R from overseas is instead of a 1 year ability to work you'll have 3 years of OPT, which will allow you to not only get more of a work experience in the United States, but also potentially endear you to that employer, and maybe there'll be other opportunities to work within the United States. So that advantage that you've got from STEM is the accounting specialization mixed with that technological advancement. And like I said, we've been trying to do some neat things here at the University of Rochester, where we've got some individuals who are really focused on generative AI and bringing that into the classroom, and trying to figure out, as corporate America is trying to figure out, the best way to use AI in their everyday functions. So that's our STEM designation. So here are the classes that the curriculum, and a lot of the things I've already talked about here, so you can just kind of scan through and see all the different classes that you would take in our MSA program. But I'm going to put your eyes over to the right there about the electives, because you've got a couple of electives here. I talked about that certificate, and we've got tax and business strategy that will be part of that certificate program that I talked about for taxes. So it's just taking taxes to that next level and understanding how to strategize taxes for both the individual and the corporate people you might be doing their taxes for, or planning the future of the situation that they're in related to their taxes. But the lower one is the forensics one, and that's near and dear to my heart. I have been teaching fraud and forensics for probably 15 years now in different environments, and have tried to take some of the unique cases that I've experienced and bring them into the classroom, so that we try to make it both fun and educational. And it's non-traditional stuff too in that class, because we're talking about interview skills, something that, a lot of people get into accounting, that they like the numbers, they like the ability to put things together. Well, there's also an aspect of that where you have to start to read people and understand what people are about, so that you can apply that to understand where the forensics or where the fraud might be occurring. And one of the nice things we're starting to do right now, we're putting together a little program so that you could actually get a certificate in the forensics and fraud examination area. But that's in its new, that's starting now. So once we get that certificate finalized, we'll let people know. But that is one of the ways we're, again, trying to elevate our program compared to some of our peers. So that's our curriculum. I hope you had a chance to look at some of those classes. If we could go to the next slide, Mara. So Mara, we got the CPA exam here, and this is something that's important, because our classes really focus on trying to get you through that CPA exam so that you'll have the best ability to pass that exam. And we've updated our curriculum for the new CPA exam that was launched in 2024. We've got some new classes that we're looking to add, and we're waiting for state approval on that. Once we get that, we'll be able to add those classes into the mix of what you've already seen. We always recommend that if you have the opportunity to take a Becker, a Rogers, or Jaeger CPA review, that will help you with the exam. And we have these representatives that will show up on our campus or present, so that you'll have opportunities to see what they have. And just to kind of finalize it, when you, if you're coming to our group and you've got the 120 semester credits already, you can sit for the CPA exam in New York State. Now, to qualify to actually have the CPA, there are other rules related to experience requirements and additional classes, but we offer those here at the University of Rochester. So when you get done with your MSA program, you will qualify on the curriculum side for that CPA once you pass it. And that's our CPA exam slide. So if we could go to the next one. Oh, that's it for me. So let me pass the torch back to Myra, and we can move on.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Tim. That was such a wonderful review of the curriculum and our MSA program. I do want to remind you all that we do have the Q&A function available if you have any questions for Tim on the curriculum or any questions at all going forward as we continue to move through our presentation. Hopefully that did provide a better understanding of the courses and what you can expect from our program, from our advanced certificate opportunity and our STEM designation, which is fantastic and something that I think is super appealing, not only to our international students, but also our domestic students, really signaling to your employers that you are coming to them with a super strong set of technical skills. So thank you so much, Tim, for that information. I will go
I'm
ahead. Oh, yes, go for it.
Oh no, I was just going to say my pleasure. And like I said, one of the other things we try to do, and we've got an accounting association here, and one of our plans this year is to try to bring in, whether it's through Zoom or some of the local CFOs, to come into the classroom and to share some of their experiences too with our accounting association.
Thank you. Yes, and that's such a wonderful segue too, as we get to dive into the student experience here a little bit more with Sean. So I will go ahead and turn it over to Sean.
Hi, everybody. One of the really amazing things about Simon, to me, is we have a great facility, we have amazing faculty, and then we also have a group of folks who we come into the office every day, and really our goal is to make sure that the student experience here is as good as it possibly can be while you're at Simon. And most of us work in the Ainslie Office of Student Engagement. It's funny, we are a giant glass office right in the middle of one of the buildings, so you really can't miss us once you're here. And we have students that are popping in and out all day with questions and, or just to say hello. We really have three big pieces of things that we do. We look at the advising side of things. So advising in a lot of cases is academic advising. The idea of how do I do well in the classroom? What resources are available? Things like that. Student life, all of the things that happen outside of the classroom, and some of them are pretty amazing. We'll get into those in a couple of slides. And then experiential learning, which is something, again, outside the classroom. We expect everybody to study hard, do great on your homework and your exams and stuff like that. But we also want to provide a more well-rounded educational experience as well, because not everybody learns the same way. And we find that by adding some other pieces, it really helps people fill in the gaps and feel more comfortable. Because ultimately, if you're comfortable here, if you're feeling it's the right fit, if you're feeling supported, if you know where the resources are, this whole process of moving through the degree gets a lot easier. And you can see our values on this slide. Highest level of service is really important to us. We want to make sure that if you need something, that we have somebody who's taking care of it. We pride ourselves on being kind of a one-stop shop for things. We'll have students who come in with a question, and it might involve multiple people to sort of, figure out how to answer that question or how to connect you with a resource or someone in the building or outside the building on the larger campus to get the solution. We're always going to treat everybody with respect, with compassion. Everybody working in our office has been in higher education for a long time supporting students. We do it because we love it, not because it's a paycheck. I think everybody feels that when they're here. Open and timely communication. I'll also throw kind of a footnote on that we'll never make you feel like it's a silly question or a dumb question. I know there's nothing worse than coming into some place and that you're not familiar with the people and asking a question, having somebody make you feel bad for asking a question. So we're always going to treat you well. We have a lot of fun. We celebrate successes. We have some amazing celebrations throughout the year for holidays from multiple cultures. If you're doing well, if you just need to pick me up, it's a lot of fun to drop in. We try to get everybody walking out the door with a smile. So let's get a little bit more into the advising side of things. We can go next slide there. So one-on-one advising appointments. So I'm the academic advisor for the MS in accounting students. So if you need help sorting through your elective choice, if you need academic support, hey, this class is really hard for me. I can't quite figure out what the best solution is to get to where I need to be. And in some situations, it might be visiting a professor during office hours. It might be working with a TA. It might be working with a tutor. We have other offices on campus that offer student support as well. And we can sit down and figure out, what is the roadblock that's keeping it from being as successful as you could be, and then figuring out, okay, what do we need to throw at that to make sure that it gets better? Personal support. I have a lot of conversations with students on things that don't involve academics. I actually had 3 students drop into my office yesterday afternoon. It's getting a little chillier in Rochester. We won't be really cold for another month and a half or two. But I had students come in and say, hey, where's the best place in Rochester if we want to go shopping for like heavier jackets or gloves, or, if I want to get a pair of snow boots and things like that. So we try to make it a situation where if you have a question, you can stop in. I may not always have the answer, but I work with a really giant group of amazing people. And if I don't know the answer, I can definitely connect you with someone who does know the answer. We do some really cool program lunches where we get together, kind of talk as a group about things. Sometimes it's tough to ask questions and advocate for yourself, but when you're in a group and you know that multiple people have the same question, it's a lot easier to bring that up. So we try to meet with the various study teams and groups, over lunch. One of the running jokes in the building is that the lunch ferry and the dinner ferry visit fairly often. A lot of times there is food in the building, which is nice. We have a lot of folks who will pop out of class and all of a sudden, there's food available, which is nice. Those days when you forget your lunch or you don't have time to run and get lunch. It's always nice when food pops up. You'll also work in teams a lot here. So Simon as a whole, all of our different programs, all of our students work on study teams, typically 4 to 5 people. And the goal for that is to kind of spread the workload amongst other people. Kind of have that built-in support group where you're working with a group of people who are going through the same process at the same time. And the other thing is we have a lot of folks who are leaving their homes. They might be driving 3 hours to spend a year with us. They might be getting on an airplane and flying halfway around the globe to spend an hour or to spend a year with us. And sometimes it's nice to have people going through that same situation, getting acclimated to Rochester, other people who are a little away from their family, away from their friends, and, having that support. But every once in a while, teams don't work 100% as well as we would like them to, and as well as the team would like to work. Sometimes we have some disagreements. Sometimes we need to set up ground rules on how we're going to do things. And I'm also there for that. I'll work with you on an individual basis if you're having a little trouble connecting with your team, or maybe there's some team issues that you need solved. Very often, if there's a team issue, it's a quick conversation, because we have a whole toolkit of different ideas and ways that we can solve problems. If things, get to the point where we need to meet with the whole team, we can absolutely do that. We've got a great conference room right next to my office. Very often I'll have teams come in just to check in and see how things are doing. Is the team functioning at a really high level? What can we provide to help the team, hit that level if they're not there? But overall, the goal is, to work in that study team, because I hate the words "in the real world" because it sounds like we're not living there while we're in college. But once you're out in a professional setting, you're going to have people that you're working with, and sometimes they're going to be difficult to work with, or sometimes they're going to be people who are from different places and different backgrounds and different cultures. And that's one of the big reasons that we do a lot of teamwork here, is to get you used to working with folks who maybe are a little different than you, and getting comfortable with, setting those ground rules and expectations with teammates that maybe you're not necessarily familiar with their background, and they may have different expectations coming in. So lots of support though. I very often, there's a midterm going on this morning. I had a couple of students come in yesterday and they were basically just needed a little pep talk. I'm feeling a little stressed. I'm feeling a little anxious. Can we just talk through this? Am I okay? So anytime you ever need a pep talk, definitely drop by the office. We'll make sure that you're feeling okay. Let's see. And then student life. These are my favorite people that I work with. So we have three people who work down the hallway. Brittany Grage is the director of student life. I often introduce her as the director of fun. Because a lot of times, if you're doing something that's making you smile, it probably is something that Brittany's put a lot of hard work into. So they spend a lot of time building out things like orientation to make sure that when you arrive, that you're not walking into a building and going straight to class with no idea what's going on. We'll make sure that you are comfortable and know what the academic expectations are and know what the policies are. We'll get you connected with your team and kind of start building that teamwork and that camaraderie early on. We'll make sure that we have faculty. Tim Hungerford is a big part of orientation. He spends some time making sure that everybody knows exactly what the expectations are. And then we try to build in as many networking opportunities as we can. I'm a big believer that 50% of what you get out of Simon happens outside the classroom. There are so many opportunities to network with other amazing students and spend time with them, learn about them. I've had students in the past who have graduated and then called me and said, "Hey, I have an interview next Tuesday, and it's with somebody I was in class with." You never know when stuff like that pops up. So it's always good to build that personal network, have those other people you can draw from. We also have a ton of great clubs and organizations. We have professional clubs, subject-specific clubs, the accounting clubs and things like that. Diversity and education clubs, social and sports clubs. If there's a way that if there's something that might connect you with a handful of other people here, there's probably a club for it. Our outdoor adventure club went whitewater rafting this past weekend. And I was really enjoying seeing all of the pictures on everybody's Instagram of them together in a raft going down a river. A lot of big smiles, a lot of great stories. I had one of my students who is here from China in my office yesterday, and she's part of the Outdoor Adventure Club. And the big reason that she joined it is she's like, while I'm here, I want to make use of all of my time here. I want to do everything I can. So she's in our golf club. She's in our outdoor adventure club, and she's making friends with people in other programs. I asked her how the whitewater rafting went, and I got about 15 minutes of just joy. She had such an amazing time. Met a bunch of people from different programs and had so much fun. Lots of networking events on campus. We'll have recent alumni come back. We'll have alumni come back as speakers. So you'll get to meet some folks who've already completed the program and talk to them. And then lots of social events. We have an amazing Lunar New Year event every year. We have an amazing Diwali event every year. We have a wonderful volunteer opportunity for our Secret Santa program every year. We realize that sometimes grad programs can ask a lot from you, right? You're setting aside your life for a year to go get a degree that's going to ultimately make your career and your life better. And sometimes it's hard, right? It's hard to study, and it's hard to do your homework, and it's hard to do all the stuff involved. So we want to make sure that there is a lot of fun involved. There are moments when you can step aside and kind of take a breath and, just enjoy the experience. And with some amazing people. And like I said, my student life people put together amazing stuff. I'll highlight another one. Last night, we had a culture karaoke event last night where people were on site. We had 35 people who were there. We served food. Everybody was taking turns singing songs. It might have been songs that everyone else knew. It might have been songs that were from their home country. It was an absolutely amazing experience. And I can't think of a much better way to spend a random Monday night than getting together, having dinner with your friends and singing a little karaoke and having a little bit of fun. So lots of fun, lots of stuff that's outside the classroom, and lots of things that make, I think, the Simon experience unique. Speaking of uniqueness, so experiential learning is a really, really big deal here. We try to make sure that the learning is not isolated to the classroom. I think a lot of programs, the idea is you walk into campus in the morning, you sit in a classroom, you learn from faculty, you do your homework, and you go home. And I think that that's great. But I think that when you start adding some really cool stuff to that, it makes for a really great experience. And I think it makes you better prepared for what comes afterwards. So we have a Master's Advisory Council. So MAC is our group of students who act as advocates for the students in their master's programs. They are students who work with our offices. So you'll have within MAC, you'll have a vice president of academics who oftentimes is working with faculty about concerns. So you have vice presidents of things like career services, where they're working directly with our Benet Career Management Center. So there's an opportunity if you're somebody who wants to represent the students in the master's in accountancy program, kind of on the bigger scale within the school. There are lots of events to do so. Within the clubs and organizations that I mentioned, each club has an MS representative on the board. So there's lots of opportunities to work in leadership roles. If you're somebody who hasn't necessarily had an opportunity professionally to be a leader, these are great opportunities to step in and really kind of flex your leadership muscles a little bit in a really safe space, learn how to engage with people across different populations, learn how to engage with faculty and staff and things like that. So there's a lot of great experience in kind of, learning to lead more effectively and more efficiently. We also have a lot of learn by doing sort of things. So case competitions. Case competitions are really neat. We have a ton of them every year, the experiential learning department. There are some at other colleges in the area that we'll go to. And then we host a couple of case competitions every year where folks, and really, it's listed there, but really the focus is not just on preparing and doing well. I mean, obviously you want to go into a case competition and try to perform as effectively as you can as a team. But the goal of those case competitions is to work on that, the idea of working with a team. How do we solve a problem? How do we put together an amazing deliverable that's going to wow the judges? And it's an opportunity to really kind of, use all of the things that you've learned in the classroom in a friendly, competitive environment. It's really kind of a neat thing. Project courses. These are unique to Simon. A lot of colleges don't necessarily have these type of things. So you'll work basically as a team. You'll work with real clients, small businesses, local businesses, and usually the structure of those is they have a problem they want to solve, or they have something that they want help with. And we have a team of students who actually work with that local company. And the deliverable might be something very different depending on the project. But that's an opportunity to kind of work as a consulting team, again, in that safe environment while you're still at Simon, and get that experience with, the support of faculty and staff to make sure that you do well there. And then experiential opportunities within the clubs and organizations. So Meliora Fund, Venture Fund, Simon Vision Consulting, all of these groups do things like evaluating local companies that we invest real money in. Working again as a consulting team with a local company, trying to get that real world experience before you graduate. And at the end of the day, all of these type of experiences get you really two important things. The first is they get you experience in using your knowledge. These are experiences where you're not sitting and listening to someone and taking notes and trying to make sure that you know how things work for a homework or an exam. You're using that material, you're using those materials and the things that you've learned here to solve a problem in a real world scenario, which when you start talking about going in and interviewing for a job, the ability to say, oh yeah, while I was at Simon, I worked with a team and we worked with this small company to solve this problem. And this is a deliverable that we put together. And this was the situation. And they can look at that and say, oh, wow, you didn't just sit in a classroom. You were actually working with a company doing something really similar to what you're applying to do for us. So it gives you that advanced marketability that you want to have the great resume, but you also want to have the great resume and the experience to go with it, because in an interviewing situation really gives you an opportunity to talk about something more than just curriculum and what you learned. And I think that is a long-winded kind of look through the student experience outside of the classroom. And then I think at this point, we're going to turn it over to career services.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you so much. I do have some questions for you first, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So the first one being, if you could just maybe expand a little bit more on internships. The question itself is an internship required for the completion of our MSA program?
So it's interesting. So we have an internship track version of the program, and we have a non-internship track version of the program. So if an internship is something that you're interested in, we can absolutely make sure that we have you in a track where that provides for that. So in that situation, you would be here for the fall semester and the spring semester. And then you have the opportunity over the summer to do an internship and then to come back and finish up a final class in the fall of 26 in this particular case. If you're not interested in an internship, you can finish the program by being here for the fall of 25, spring of 26, and then graduate in May. You do have the opportunity once you're here to change tracks. Every year I have a few students who might go from non-internship to internship after they've had an opportunity to maybe sit down and get a little more information about potential internship opportunities. It's fairly rare that I have somebody who goes from internship to non-internship, but definitely available. It's not required though. So if it's something that you're not interested in doing, we're not going to require that. But that opportunity is absolutely available if you want it to be.
Wonderful, thank you. And then another question for you. Can you tell us a little bit more about what are some of the most popular clubs or organizations for our MSA students?
That's a tough one, to be honest. And the reason I say that is because I think we have so many clubs and different students are in so many different clubs that I don't know that it's a situation where there's necessarily kind of a default club that everybody is in. We have a lot of students who are in the Accounting Association. I think that one lines up very, very well. We also have folks who are maybe a little more interested in data analytics, so they join the data analytics club. There is a consulting club that we see a lot of people take part in. We also have a lot of different clubs that are kind of related to where people are from, or fun things. So we have a lot of folks who are in our gaming club. The Outdoor Adventure Club is very, very popular. There's just so many clubs. So it's tough to say what most people do. It's pretty much whatever you're interested in, we probably have a club for it.
Wonderful, thank you. Yes, we love to provide the variety.
Yes. And if we do not have a club for something that you are interested in, I will walk you through how to create a club and find people who are interested in the same thing. So every couple of years, we have somebody who comes in and says, do we have a club for this? And we're like, no, we haven't had interested in that yet. And all of a sudden they find 10 friends and there's a new club. So that's definitely something, if we don't have it, we can create it too.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sean. I will go ahead and turn it over to Sanket now.
Thank you so much, Myra. Hello, everyone. My name is Sanket, and I work for the Benet Career Management Center. So really, the Career Management Center is a one-stop shop for everything related to career. We try to make sure that we are able to support you in each and every step of your career journey. And it really begins with you even before stepping foot into assignment. So we have a robust onboarding program, which is a pre-arrival program, which happens when you're still at home. So this program is all about researching the industries or job functions that you might be potentially interested in. So this way you get prepared for what awaits you when you join assignment. Now, once you're here, we do a series of workshops called the Career Education Series. It's a 4-part series, and in this one, we'll talk about finding the right job and how to showcase a fit for those jobs, how to interview well, and how to use networking to help you with your job search. Throughout the year, we have various alumni spotlights and events that keep happening. So we'll have alums, coming in on campus, talking about their career journey. And we also have all of times information sessions by companies. We recently had one by KPMG, but we also have a few from local firms in Rochester, which talk about jobs that are available for you. And the best part, each and every one of you can get one-on-one career counseling from an assigned career advisor. We know that every person's journey is different, and we would like to help you wherever you are in your career journey. So these one-on-one sessions are really meant to help you personalize your career search and help you get where you want to be in your career journey. So this one-on-one career support is really, focused on this career advising model that we recently developed. And we've sort of segregated the career search into three phases. The first one is the applicant phase. That's really when you're exploring jobs and trying to assess which kind of jobs would be meaningful as you look at your long-term goals. So it really begins with coaching you about what options are available as you graduate from this degree. So some of you might be interested in tax, some of you might want to go into audit. Like Tim mentioned, he's a big fan of forensic accounting. So we really try to help you identify which career options are available and possible. And the next step is really assessing fit. So just finding out, am I ready for this career? Do I have the skills needed for getting a job like this? And if not, how can I get those skills? So these really tie into the strategy discussions that you would have one-on-one with your assigned career advisor, and they will help you, sort of build a plan to get those skills or refine them if you don't have them at the moment. And then we move on to the next phase when you really become a candidate. And then this is where the time when you're actively applying for jobs. So you have understood, okay, these might be a few industries and functions of interest for me, and I would like to go ahead with my career search in this direction. So that is when we help you with personalized advice on resumes, cover letters. We also have a ton of workshops on how to make a LinkedIn profile or how to create a LinkedIn profile, which can, help recruiters source you and come to you for jobs. So we recently had one LinkedIn 101 workshops, and students found it really helpful as they navigated through their career search. And in the next stage, once you apply to that job and once you hear back from the recruiter, definitely we want you to put your best foot forward. And a big part of that is creating a long-lasting impression through interview prep. So we do have, support to help you prepare for those interviews by conducting mock interview sessions with your one-on-one advisors and case interview sessions if casing is what is needed in the role. And it doesn't just stop here. We want to make sure that we are with you throughout this process. So as you move forward, after the interviews, and hey, you get an offer. Amazing thing, right? We help you negotiate that offer and help you get the best you can from that offer. So helping you understand what the terms in the offer mean and how you can get more compensation if you so desire, or how you can negotiate for a few other things depending on what your long-term goals are. And as you become alums, we still are connected with you. So the career support is available 6 months even after you graduate. So we're there with you throughout this journey. And apart from your assigned career advisor, we also have an amazing group of career peers. They're called Benet Career Peers, and they're second year MBA students who have a lot of experience in a specific certain industry. So if you feel that it works out well with you to have an advising session with our Benet Career Peers, they are also available to help you out. And then we can talk a little bit more about the outcomes. Myra, if you could move on to the next slide. Thank you, Myra. So most of our companies or most of our students actually, they go into the Big Four or the other, big companies that hire accountants. As you can see, almost 54% of them went to financial services and 21% went to consulting. And 95% of students or graduates received offers who were seeking for jobs in the United States. So really, we have these great career outcomes. We have some great relationships with recruiters and companies, and we are here to help you out at every stage of your career journey. And I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have about careers. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sanket. That was such an excellent overview at all the things that the Benet Career Management Center really has to offer and provide all our current students. So thank you so much. I do want to share a little bit of admissions related details. So just highlight some things for you all here in terms of the application process. Now as you got to know our program a little bit. So wherever you might be in the process, whether you started your application or thinking about starting your application, I wanted to highlight our fall 2025 application deadlines. As always, we have 5 application rounds, but our admissions is rolling, so you can apply at any time. You do not need to wait for any specific deadlines, but I always encourage prospective students to take a look at this grid, which is also outlined and available to you on our website, because it really is a great planning tool. So for example, if you know you are applying to a certain number of schools and you're hoping to have all your decisions back in hand around the same time, many schools will provide a similar grid. So you can always reference those and ours, and you can always plan accordingly. So our first deadline here is coming up on October 15th, so it is coming up soon, but you still have plenty of time. So if you are interested in that round 1 application, you can expect to receive your admissions decision no later than December 15th. So you certainly could receive it before then, but you will know that you will receive it no later than December 15th. Sorry. Another piece of exciting news is that if you are listening to this webinar live today, we will be attaching an application fee waiver to your account within the next 1 to 2 business days. There is no code that you need to worry about or any extra steps you need to take. When you submit your application, you will just bypass the payment screen because we will have already taken care of that for you on our end. So very exciting. All right. I do see some more questions on here. As you are planning for your application for your prospective program, I do want to remind you all to keep in touch. You can check out any of our upcoming webinars, some podcasts and blogs we have for you, as well as connect with current students to get a little bit more insight on that student experience. We did receive some questions today regarding specific profiles. So if you are curious about your eligibility for the MSA program, please feel free to submit your transcripts or resumes and other materials to our Check Your Eligibility form, CYE. We will go ahead and provide you with some feedback on your specific profile. So I do encourage you to utilize that tool if you are interested. We do also have our MSA applicant pool available online, where you can always see what our previous students have looked like in our previous class. So you're welcome to certainly look at that and review that. I do want to go ahead. I see some questions surrounding graduate assistantships and scholarships. So I will go ahead and pose that question to Trista. If you can share a little bit more about graduate assistantships, what that looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to provide what might seem like a long-winded answer to this one, but bear with me, there is a why. So graduate assistantships, that looks so different from school to school. And I think a lot of people, when they're thinking of graduate assistantships, are thinking about an opportunity that you can utilize that will partially fund your tuition, or maybe even fully fund your tuition. And so graduate assistantships here at Simon, they don't look like that. So graduate assistantships are essentially on-campus job opportunities. So there is not an option for you to partially or fully fund your tuition via a graduate assistantship. We have plenty of on-campus job opportunities all across campus if you are interested in really doing a variety of different tasks across campus, from working in the library to perhaps one of our dining centers, maybe for one of our other offices across the campus. We have a fairly large institution here with lots of opportunities. So if you're looking to make some extra spending money to help with sort of your monthly expenses, that is an excellent option for you. You won't actually be able to apply to any on-campus jobs until you're here as a student. So there will be a little bit of time until you're actually able to start browsing through those opportunities and applying to jobs. That really takes place once you're already here as a student. If you're talking about graduate assistantships in the sense that you're working with a faculty member to help them with research or something like that, those types of graduate assistant opportunities are typically available to our PhD students primarily. And so that is not necessarily an opportunity that is wildly available for our MBA or MS candidates. If you're looking to TA a specific class, that's also sometimes a little tricky because you have to have taken that class and performed well in that class. So there's a lot of sort of nuances around that as well. So again, really long-winded answer, but I think a lot of folks who generally have questions about this have sort of these preconceived notions of what a graduate assistantship is and what that means. And so hopefully that provides some clarity as to what those opportunities look like here at Simon.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. And so I do want to expand a little bit more on that. In terms of scholarships, we do offer merit-based scholarships. So merit-based scholarships are awarded based on the strengths of the applicant relative to the applicant pool. So we do have one question in our application that asks if you would like to be considered for merit-based scholarships. And if you would just make sure you click that box, check yes, then our admissions committee will review your application and will also consider your scholarship as well. So that is always a really good thing to look out for, to make sure you check that off if that is something that you are interested in. We always tell candidates that if you are interested in receiving merit-based scholarships and that is a priority to you, we really encourage you to apply for our round 1 or round 2 applications deadline, since those are the priority deadlines for scholarship consideration. So certainly be on the lookout for that. And I do want to highlight another opportunity that you can participate in. We do have a virtual business simulation known as Simon Games. It runs through November and it is open to all our prospective MS students. And we do encourage students to register and play for a chance to win a full tuition scholarship. If that is of interest, we do have 2 information sessions coming up on that on October 2nd and October 24th. So you're welcome to participate on that. It's very fun, very exciting, and a really great opportunity to, again, get a full tuition scholarship for the 2025 application cycle. And I just want to reiterate, there is no need for an application fee waiver code that will be applied to your profile in 1 to 2 business days on our end. Wonderful. Well, thank you all so much for joining us today. Again, if you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Take advantage of that check your eligibility option. It's a really great tool. If any questions do come up, please feel free to email us at admissions@simon.rochester.edu.